Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Slow Flower Show. We've got a really special topic today, one that we all love, dahlias. And we're going to hear about what one of our members is doing in her community. I want to first introduce Lisa Dailey of Cultivation. Hi, Lisa.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Oh, you bet. And you're going to introduce your cohort, Kim Darty, and tell us what you and Kim are doing and where you're at.
Well, I'm going to introduce Kim and let her fly with what we're doing.
Great,
However,
okay.
and fly would be an appropriate word because it's all about dahlias and flower power, which I'll let her talk about. But we are in Highlands, North Carolina, and Kim is our fearless leader for the past lot of years.
About almost 10, probably.
10 years. So this festival is 14 years old. So I'm going to turn it over to Kim for the pertinent details.
Great. Well, I love it. Kim, tell me how you got looped into this and what it's all about.
Well, okay. So I started out just because it was, dahlias are beautiful and, they're rather enchanting, and they, with their never ending color, shape, they're fairly dazzling, as we decided. So they had a single bloom competition, an amateur flower show in the rec center, that about 200 people would come and look at about 30 growers' flowers. It happened and was over in several hours. Then we had COVID, and in COVID, no gathering. And so I got this idea, I would say inspiration from above, that we couldn't gather, but we needed a hug, and that flowers, dahlias, they were thriving. And so the best thing we could do would be to do like a guerrilla flower show all over our little wonderful Highlands. So who did I enlist except for people like Lisa, who cultivation, if you're going to start, you start with the best growers.
Yeah, you got to plant something, right?
Yep. And in 60 days, somehow in this precious, wonderful community, we pulled together 37 dahlia vignettes all over town of just tell me a story. So here we are. This is our 5th year, and now we're up to like 60 vignettes. Our single bloom has now doubled in size. It's now going 2 days this year with 3 panels of judges, an amateur category, a professional category. Lisa chairs the single bloom. And then we're doing a patrons party. We're launching a scholarship. And we decided that we do all these things. And as you very well know, growing and gardening is such a singular, fulfilling thing. We decided that we needed a bit of a pep rally. So we have a really great band concert at the end of the thing where we award all the prizes. And this year, we're leaning into the 60s.
With flower power.
Yes.
Flower power.
Oh,
so we're
gorgeous.
having an elevated Woodstock party, and we're just going to celebrate the bounty of dahlias here. And by the way, they're non-native to Highlands, North Carolina, which is where we're located. But they, like many of us here, came to Highlands as seasonal people and took up residency. And now, especially the dahlia is a thriving part of our heritage.
Well, I noticed in the press material that the assignment to present the floral vignettes is half dahlias and half non-invasive native plants. So that I've never seen anybody give that kind of criteria before. Is it because there's a big emphasis in the Highlands gardening community on North Carolina natives, or how did that come about?
Well, yes, and Lisa should address that. She's an expert there.
Well, yes, absolutely. And it's really important to pull it in for diversity in pollination situations that we all well know. So that's very cut rate and simple. But the invasive piece, we're trying to educate people as well, because there's a certain amount of material that gets thrown in gardens, landscapes that shouldn't even be sold at the nursery. So we try to emphasize that as well.
Mm-hmm. And we're keeping it simple. We started with just 5. We're like, please don't bring ivy or Japanese bittersweet, things that, are really, really, and people appreciate that, because just as in the local environment, the stay local, people really, really want to get rid of the invasives and, help our pollinators and our local things with, of course, the notable exception of the dahlias.
Right. The dahlia is an invited guest.
Yeah, absolutely.
The star of the show.
Absolutely.
Well, so this is all a volunteer endeavor, Kim. I mean, what's your background? Are you a avid gardener, or how did you get involved in all this? Community organizer?
I used to be an interior designer, and yes, I think I have that illness that Lisa, and I'm sure you have, that is, if there's a cause, then I'd like to do it. But no, I think it's like the most blessed possible thing I don't know, the world's so troubled. So to me, this is a joy endeavor. And, and Highlands is a wonderful seasonal town of many times affluent people. So we wanted to do a festival that was free to everyone and was more about celebrating our environment and the things that we all have in common, not the things that divide us. So
that's beautiful. So these installations, when you talked about starting the displays during COVID, was that the kind of thing that then people could go see because it was outdoors? It was kind of like not a huge gathering. They could go on their own and just kind of stroll around the community and see these dahlia installations without contact?
Yes, we created a map, and we put everything on the map. And so you would get the map and follow it, and go around at your own leisure. Now we have anonymous judges. We have people's choice, and we get people of all, we have everyone. People do vignettes, everyone from a business who just want to be recognized to more high style designers that are interested in showing their talent. And obviously we love the high talent people, but we just, we wanted people just to come and be able to look around. We have everyone that does this are volunteers and work so hard, and we also have a great time. I think
we do. Yeah. Probably the hardest thing, Deborah, is preparing the staging for the single bloom, and we put those in dark wine bottles.
Okay.
So, making sure that we get all those wine bottles.
You have to collect them all year long, is what you're saying. Yes. So there's a lot of facets to this. And it sounds like for somebody who hasn't participated before, it's like just cut a flower that you love from your garden and enter it in the single blooms, because it costs $5 to enter that competition. And I think that's also kind of the spirit of a county fair or a state fair, right?
That's exactly. In fact, that's what people say. This is so great, because everyone either grows some flowers, loves to come and look at the flowers, is willing to come and maybe, walk around the park and enjoy the day and dance. So it works out to be a fantastic community experience. And we even have a children's category at our single bloom. So we encourage, and we've learned people are very excited to even bring their dogs. So it turns out the whole environment, natural, works for our community.
So this is all taking place over the course of September 6th and 7th. You guys are getting ready to sort of kick it off. It's almost like a week-long series of events with this elevated Woodstock all the way to the closing concert, right?
Exactly. We've taken it in 5 years, Lisa, myself, and a handful of brilliant, amazing, talented individuals. We've taken it, and now it's a week, and we're really proud because we are trying to play up the natives, and we have a very strong biological station and foundation here. So they have a native plant symposium that now will be the weekend after ours. So we're trying to start out with the star. She's beautiful. She draws you in. And then we finish with the meat, which is the natives and things. And we even have the Carolina Dahlia Society, which will be having their show the weekend following. So we're doing this wonderful about 10 days of bloom and bounty on the plateau.
Yes. I love it. Are people coming from outside the region, or is it sort of gaining a tourism aspect?
Very much. Wow. Very much. And so our challenge is keeping up, because we didn't intend our plan to be here, any of this. And to make it interesting, because you can put some flowers out in a bowl and you go, great, I did that, I never have to go again. Or you can constantly inspire people to say, have you been, you need to go.
Yeah. Yeah, that's wonderful. And I think, I mean, if it was me, and I've gone to Dahlia shows before that are very traditional with the tables and, like you were saying, Lisa, the uniform vessels and the categories, and you just take pictures and make notes of what tubers you want to buy for next year. So are people able to, are there vendors who are selling tubers or cut flowers, or how do people get their hands on these goodies?
Interesting, because you very well, because people come and they want to take a flower home. They want to do this. And, September, we're approaching end of our season. Right. So we sell beautiful mason jar arrangements, but as you just said, people want the tubers. So we have partnered with a grower. It's taken us a little bit. A local guy who has now hybridized all these gorgeous tubers about 30 minutes from here. And he is going to sell Grower's Choice tuber packages. So it'll be like 12 for $120. You order them now, and he ships them to you at a date in March or April. And so, because people want, and we're like, no, you should not overwinter the tubers. Let the professional. That's great.
You want people to succeed, right? And so the organizing body is the Highlands Historical Society. Is that sort of the umbrella that you're underneath?
Absolutely. We are making history now.
That's right.
Okay. I love it.
But we have one little element, Deborah, that I'd like Kim to address, is our collaboration with.
Well, that's right. Yeah. Besides the biological system, the Bascom, which is an arts, again, Highlands has incredible resources. Is an arts organization that has exhibits, training, education, and an incredible campus. We've started a poster contest, and they actually partner with us, and they host our poster contest. So we have only done it 2 years, and both of our artists are now creating art commercially. So
I love it.
We're launching artists.
So you've got the arts, you've got the horticulture, the conservation, the home gardener, the professional,
it's the whole community.
Flower farmer. I love it.
Yeah.
Congratulations. That's really neat. There are a lot of moving parts, and I was going to ask you about the Bascom. So there are that's also the location of the flower exhibition for the judging, right, Lisa?
Correct.
Yeah.
And we're having a talk there as well.
Yes, we have a Dahlia talk there from the grower who's doing the tubers, because Lisa's too busy.
Yep.
Well, I'd love
a couple of vignettes.
I'd love to share the poster art in our show notes at slowflowerspodcast.com. I think Lisa already gave it to me, but I saw it on the website. So really lovely. Congratulations. I hope this inspires other communities to turn maybe something that was small and quiet and supported by just, those in the know, and become something bigger. I'm just thinking about, all the Dahlia shows that happen at gardens, like nurseries and garden centers or community centers, shopping malls. They're always around this time of year, and they're great, but they could become something bigger. So,
well, and it's funny, the people who actually do the work get tired, and they're like, perhaps we could do this every other year. But the public, we're like, no, because it's something, it turns out that people of every age enjoy, and the weather is beautiful. And so just, breathe the air, see the beauty, and remember how, we're ephemeral. So enjoy the ephemerals.
Yeah. Amazing.
Well, it's funny. Earlier this year, we had one of our members on from Indianapolis, and something very similar with the Peony Festival there occurred. So I need to connect you, because there's so many parallels. They've become this huge tourism destination to promote peonies. It's earlier in the year. It's around a little after Mother's Day. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so like every flower can have its festival. We just have to get the team together and throw the party.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
Great. Well, good luck. I'm going to let you run off, Kim, because I understand you have lots of things to do.
Well, and Lisa's the star.
No. It's all good.
I just organized some things with people who care about flowers and our community and art and history. Without the people who actually plan, cultivate, help us, educate us, we'd be nowhere. So thank you.
Sounds like a good team.
It is.
Good team. Well, we're going to talk to Lisa a little bit more about her business and her design work and how she's moved from horticulture to floriculture. Not exclusively.
True.
So we'll say goodbye to you, Kim. Thanks so much.
Thank you for having me. It was such a pleasure. And Deborah, I love your podcast. So now I'll have to not miss any of them.
Well, you'll be the guest pretty soon.
Have a good day.
Okay. Thanks a lot. That's great. Well, okay. Well, that was fun. Thanks for bringing a surprise guest.
I know. That was great.
Yeah. So, okay. So we met virtually when you joined Slow Flowers. And as I recall, Tonali Gruder, our membership manager, emailed me and said, I just had the most fascinating conversation with our new member, Lisa Dailey of Cultivation. You need to give her a call. And so you and I had a couple calls after that. And you told me, this was months ago, you told me what was going on. But let's back up a little bit and talk about your business and how your path to flowers. Are you a year-round resident of Highlands?
No, this will be my first year as being a year-round resident. I would overwinter in Savannah the last 5 or 6 years, and then Southwest Florida up until then, raising the family, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So
but yes, people come to this area. Where is Highlands, North Carolina? Is it on the coast?
No, we are in the Appalachians, and there's a Blue Ridge. There's a little blue out there. You can see some of the mountains.
See your view. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing. But we are south of Asheville, about an hour.
Oh, right. That's right. Okay.
Yep.
Beautiful country.
It's
I haven't been there for a long time, but I'd love to come back.
Yeah.
So people, your business has been focusing on landscape design and coaching and also organic floral design, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's really a true consulting business based on anything horticultural.
Okay.
So it varies from visit to visit, but it's funny. After last year's Dahlia Festival, I got all these calls. I have to have a dahlia garden. So then I go in specifically to help someone create that.
You're like, you sure you really want this? Because it's going to change your life.
Yeah. And what? You have to dig these up? Okay.
Someone told me here in the Pacific Northwest that having a dahlia farm is like having a dairy farm, because you have to take care of the cows every single day. And it's sort of how you can't get away on the weekends if you have, to baby your dahlias.
Yeah, it's pretty true. It's pretty true. So, it's just a lot of fun to work with. So the whole dahlia thing I've been doing since I was a little girl, because on this property, my grandmother planted them. And then, of course, my mother. So it's somewhat genetic. I do have a degree in horticulture from the University of Georgia. And I just fell into this niche of being a consultant. It's all word of mouth. And like I said, I'll walk onto a property maybe for one thing, but as I'm looking around through the whole property, I'm sort of, did you consider restoring your rhododendrons? Things that get out of hand. So it sort of does this, and it's a lot of fun. Serendipity is I've just met amazing people. Yeah.
And I love the fact that this sort of environmental and sustainable and regenerative component, and with the native plants, that sort of appears in your work, but you're not necessarily scaring people with it. You're kind of making them feel like they're coming along with you to make a radical change in their garden, like not use chemicals anymore.
Well, ironically enough, that's the easy part, because I'll get a call or a text from a client/friend, because they become friends, and they're like, oh, something's eating this or whatever, and they're all panicked, like, don't worry about that. This too shall pass, because as the season progresses, Japanese beetles aren't so much a problem anymore, or thrips aren't so much a problem anymore. But I teach them how to fertilize well. I have a minor in agronomy, so soil preparation is everybody gets the soil lecture. Sorry, you're going to get it from me. And because that supports everything. And the fertilizers I recommend are all, organic and have the micro biologicals in them that build the soil as well. I teach them to use the leaf matter that's on their property to overwinter, use the stalks of the dahlias to hold the leaves the leaf mass down.
Wait, we got to stop and hear that tip.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
So when I dig the tubers and, put them away, you go and you cut at the base. So you leave a little bit of a, handle.
Yeah.
And I just put the stems, the stalks, and some of them are hollow, just aside and let them dry out. And then life goes on. You put up the tubers, whatever. You come back to prep the soil for overwinter, and not to leave soil exposed. So I drag all the leaves from all these amazing trees and cover the bed. And then I take the stalks and put them on top of the leaves so that I get a lot of wind up here. So the leaf doesn't blow off, because I want to protect that soil.
So the leaves or the stems of the dahlias are already kind of decomposing and brown, but they're great compostable matter, right?
Yeah, they are. And in fact, they don't really break down as quickly as you'd like, but they work. So I just take them and put them in my pile. And sometimes I'll drag them out, if I need more cover, and use them this next year. So I don't really think of those as helping the soil, other than holding down the leaf material or whatever else.
But it's not plastic. It's something natural that you can recycle.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, you filmed a little video of your dahlia. I want to say it's like a dahlia estate. It's not a patch.
Would you fancy a tour of my dahlia garden? Yes? Come with me. And here we are. Highlands, North Carolina, home of the Dahlia Festival. We have lots of dahlias to show you, so let's go look at them real quick. So here we are. Here are the dahlias. Put these dahlias in May 15th because it's always Mother's Day when we plant a tuber. But as you can see, I have them interspersed with the vegetable gardens, the tomatoes. We also have more dahlias over here because it's kind of like chocolate. You just can't have enough. So we keep going, and we have more dahlias over here mixed in with all of my zinnias and my favorite rudbeckia, Henry Eilers. So you can see all the different types of dahlias that we have. And guess what? Just happen to have a hollyhock. So dahlias mix in beautifully with the garden, and you can see in North Carolina, they thrive. So come visit us and witness the Dahlia Festival the weekend after Labor Day every year.
So tell me, just give me a sense of, like, you said you inherited this property, or this hasn't been in the family. What is that area? Is it just like, was it once just a big lawn?
Okay, absolutely no. So yes, my two brothers and I inherited this, and we are literally in town. Of Highlands with a view. It's a pretty remarkable piece of property.
I guess that's why they call it the Highlands, right?
Yeah. So the field that I was that the video is taken in, my grandparents bought this in 1949. So it's important to protect this. I mean, no one's been in these woods down here in my lifetime. It's just, refurbishing itself. However, the field was there, and he bought that in the late 60s. And it's almost 2 acres.
Okay.
And I just have created beds in said field, and I keep creating more beds. And I was just telling Kim before we went on, I was thinking, I got to protect that field and not let it go away. Maybe I'll have my business buy it, and maybe I'll just grow more flowers because it's full sun.
Yeah, I was going to ask you if it was full sun. And is it? But do you have deer pressure? Do you need fencing, or is it pretty invisible?
Yeah, so deer are ignoring the dahlias. I have raspberries down there. I grow other flowers like the astrangia. There's a lot of other things that I'm doing down there. I do have. The only thing that I deviate from is I do use liquid fence around the periphery of the field.
And that helps.
The other problem are bears. They take down plum trees and apple trees, but they'll walk right through the garden, whatever. So there's wildlife challenges. The deer are they're not cute.
Yeah. That's scary, especially
They're
when you
just
say
not
you're in the
cute.
city and they're that close to
But
the
it's
downtown.
alarming how the bear situation, but the deer are just flat out annoying.
Oh my gosh, I know. But you're right that this too shall pass. Hopefully
Yep.
you plant enough dahlias that they're only damaging one little corner or something. And
They actually never touch the dahlias.
Hmm.
They just come in. I have a new dawn rose that's growing up just that I just transplanted, and I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago, and they love to eat on that. They'll eat the Queen Anne's lace. They'll eat certain things. I just just try to keep them at bay.
yeah. Well, since you're
Yeah,
not into invasives, let them have the Queen Anne's lace, right?
absolutely. But it works really well in flower arrangements, so that's
Yes,
good.
it does. It
Yes.
does. Well, speaking of flower arrangements,
Yes.
show me what you have behind you, and
Okay.
we'll get a
Absolutely.
little show and tell.
Absolutely. So my whole idea on flower arranging is foraged. So sorry, I don't ever buy. I always go in the woods or the field or whatever. So, but I grow certain things. So the phlox is a gift. That just can't. That just grows up around the dog kennel.
And it's
I didn't
a
plant that.
perennial. It's a perennial,
Yes,
right?
it is a perennial, and it's pretty much native up here too. This, however, is a Strandja.
I love that. I have 2
I
astrantias in
love
my
it.
garden.
And when I worked in a nursery, in a florist here and did weddings, I loved using it. And I thought, And then I read William Robinson's Bible book. He was the founder of the English Garden. It was written in the late 1800s. Fascinating book, really thick, sorry. And Strandja kept popping up. And I'm thinking, I can grow that.
Yeah, and it's kind of a slow to start perennial, but eventually it pumps out the blooms.
Oh, it's amazing. And its leaf mass is low, so and attractive.
Yeah.
And these I call just my kitchen alliums, and they reseed themselves beautifully, and they work amazing.
Yeah, gorgeous.
And another fun one I love is borage, which is an herb.
Borage is another one of those gifts that keep on giving, isn't it?
Oh my goodness, it's taken over the whole thing.
I will just say, I also have borage seeded in my gravel paths, but it's so easy to pull up. It's not a huge imposition like something with a deep taproot. So I let it go.
Yeah, I got it behind this year with all of the referrals, which I'm so grateful for. And I didn't get my true vegetable garden in, and the borage, to your point. So I'm like, you know what? It's just working the soil this year. So we're just letting it rest.
Okay, good.
My other favorite is windflower.
Japanese anemone.
Correct.
Yeah. Oh, what did you call it?
Windflower.
Oh, right.
Anemone. I have to work in so many different terms. There's a white one in here too.
I love them so much.
I literally, so the Strandja and the anemones are amazing.
Yeah.
And I work with the nursery here, and there's Carolina native grower. These aren't native, but I work with the buyer at the nursery here and try to get him to get these fun things in that are different. And like the cones are native, but I will only use Echinacea purpura. I will not use, I call it gardener's cocaine, because they get to the nursery and they see these amazing cones and they just don't do so well. But you have your Magnus, and then you have Ruby Star, you have White Swan, so that's super fun. And I guess another one of my favorites.
Oh, you said this is the Rudbeckia Henry
Eiler.
Yes,
it's the best. I love it.
And that perennializes. Is that perennial, or is that do you have to treat that?
Totally. Okay. And it gets 5 feet tall, and it puts out just an amazing, I love it.
Perfect for arrangements. Yeah.
Oh, so nice. And then in the bucket, you'll see a variety of
your dahlias.
And I've been working a lot with the anemone dahlia, and because they're pollinators, and not all dahlias are pollinators. So there's only a few. So that's not a pollinator, but this one is.
So like the ball shape and that kind of fuller, rounder ones are harder to pollinate.
Right. This one is really special. There is a old mountaineer lady called Betty McCall, and they had a nursery down the road, and she used to grow dahlias for the the florist that I worked with. And we lost her a couple of Januaries ago, but before she died, she gave me quite a few of her tubers. And this one I call Miss Betty. And it's just this tiny little yellow one, and it must put out, each plant must put out 300 of these a year. It's amazing. But
that's
to
kind
your
of like
point, that is not a pollinator.
right, but it's a hardworking floral design cut, right?
Yes.
Because it's just that shape will last longer than many.
And because I went to England, Vondaris, I love it.
Wait, what is that you held up?
Verbena Vondaris.
Oh, right. And
it
that
seeds
also kind of
itself.
sows.
Yes, it does. And actually, I let it do its thing. But, as you can see in here, there are some that are pollinators. And it's remarkable the amount of activity down there,
in the cutting garden,
particularly around these. So that's good. And then because, you got to have a zinnia. Sorry, you got to have zinnias.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of fun.
That's
and
neat.
My other favorite are just regular Allium Millennium.
Yeah.
And bubbles. So just fun stuff.
So
but
all of those.
Forage.
So the forage is. I was going to ask you: when you forage, is it more for foliage and greenery?
Well, yes, but I also say that I forage in my garden too. So I try to get people to plant things that they love and various things like that. But so like, say, for instance, in June, I'll do an event for somebody or what have you. And we have the mountain laurel. We have the flame azalea, which is the deciduous azalea. That I will use. And yes, all of the greenery I use. There's an old plant that is up at the top of our driveway called punctatum, and it's in the rhododendron family. Smaller leaf, very small bloom, but the foliage is phenomenal. So yes, to answer your question, whether it's hemlock or pine or rhododendron or laurel, mountain laurel,
yes,
all the things. It's just amazing. And some stuff doesn't hold. Oops.
Right. but it really speaks to place. And correct. I was going to ask you before we wrap up about these installations. You said you're doing 3 of them. So how big are they and what does that involve? Because there's so much emphasis now on installations. We just covered Canadian Flowers Week, and they had hundreds of people across the country do these pop-up installations, mostly for the public to see and for education. And that's kind of what you're doing, right?
Yes. So I get pulled in. I stay quiet until I'm needed. So I'm on the board of the Biological Foundation too in my spare time. And I'm doing a vignette for them. And it's about, how did I do it? It's peace, love, and pollinators. And I have a lot of containers and wood, and so that one will be very Highlands Biological Foundation vignette type thing. Then I'm doing the grocery store here because they have to be involved, and so we're doing flower power, FLOUR power.
Okay.
In that kind of thing. And then there's a statuary art store here, big statues for gardens, and he has a whole bunch of bears, and I thought bear stock the concert, so that's going to be pretty cute. So you'll be able to see all of these. They'll be posted by the 7th on the website for the Highlands Historical Society.
Or people can follow you on your Instagram account too.
Well, if I did that,
yes.
I need to yes, ma'am. I hear you.
I'll bug you for that. But these are generally like kind of, I don't know, the size of, I don't know, 4x8, or like how big are they?
It totally varies. Like the one in the grocery store will fit on a little display area. The one for the Biological Foundation, we have a series of like high top cocktail tables that have these black stretchy things that go over them, and I'll just do it under their tent. Because one thing Kim did not mention, I think there are at least 30 nonprofits that are in the main park that come and participate, and
That's
they're
great.
under all their little tents. So that's kind of cool. However, the bear stock, that one, I'm still mentally working on the mechanics for that.
I'm
'Cause I'll
picturing
use that.
like flower crowns, flower
Yep.
garlands.
Plus, he has instruments that he doesn't care about being outside. So I'll do his vignette on Saturday morning, and then we'll trick out the band.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. Well, I wish you a lot of success. I'm so
Thank
glad we
you.
could squeeze this interview in so we can post it before.
Thank you.
I know, as I said, things are happening starting as early as the 27th of August. But
Tomorrow.
we'll get it out next week. And I hope you have a really good time. And I
Thank
love that you're kind
you.
of a dahlia evangelist for your community.
Yeah, it's really great. And I just have been so excited about what you do, and, talking about the podcast and spreading the idea of slow flowers and what we do has been this other serendipity that's just kind of fun. It sort of expands people's knowledge and thinking. So
I'm
that's
glad.
pretty exciting. And there are quite a few flower growers that are participating that I'm like, well, you need to become a member, and let's,
Yeah, you can be a slow flowers evangelist too. I love that.
I can do that.
But I do think that when you do what you love, it's really hard to say this is work and this is personal, because they integrate all the time.
Totally.
I can see that you have that bug, and I'm the same way.
Oh, yeah,
so
absolutely.
Good luck, Lisa. I look
you.
forward to seeing the photos, and we'll share the show notes and links in at slowflowerspodcast.com. And as I get photos from Lisa and Kim and the team, we'll add those so people can get caught up to speed. Good luck getting ready for everything. And the weather looks like it's cooperating.
Thank you so much for having us.
You bet.